Number, as expected, up 0.8%. The high water mark here was actually up 0.9. So we have a bit of a reprieve there. If you strip out the all-important food and energy, exactly as expected, up 0.5. That also has had a high water mark of up 0.9. That was all the way back in April of last year. Now we get to the money numbers year over year. As expected, it's 7.9% for year-over-year inflation, following 7.5 that could get revised. 7.9, we go to the Wayback Machine to find a higher level of inflation. You're looking at 8.4% in June of 82 as your comp, and on the year-over-year ex-food and energy, known as core, exactly as expected, up 6.4%. Of course, 6% in the rearview mirror. That still may get revised. 6.4%, well, that comps to the same as the 6%. 1982, August of 82, when it was 7.1%. Now, the big news obviously continues to be the push and pull of geopolitics into a Treasury market, much more, at least price-wise and statistically concerned with what's going to happen on March 16th, the upcoming beginning of a tightening cycle, already telegraphed to supposedly be 1/4 of a point. And, of course, this inflation news is going to be tough for the administration. Nothing, Joe, nothing has been more politicized than inflation. Just let's hearken back to all the things we've been through. First, it was transitory. Then, inflation is good. Then we went to corporate greed. Now we're at Putin. Listen, it's probably all the above, but no matter how you slice it, it's all about commodities for the most part, and king commodity is energy, and most people in the United States are reminded of that about, what, every 3 to 4 days when they go fill up their tanks. Back to you.
The Consumer Price Index, CPI, just came in at a continued high of 7.9%, and there is no sight of it stopping anytime soon. We are still at a 40-year high as the CPI continues to push all prices much higher. And no, Russia has nothing to do with this. It's been going on. But failed policies from this administration and the Feds playing musical chairs does. In these numbers, food and energy both were excluded, which as everybody who fills up their tank is feeling, moved up sharply higher this month. Gas, groceries, and shelter are the biggest contributors to the rising CPI. And workers' paychecks fell further behind as inflation-adjusted earnings dropped 0.8% in February. Now let me tell you what's going on. The agenda being pushed by this administration and the lack of accountability as they remind us what it is like. In kindergarten, playing the blame games. While the economy keeps tanking, the inflation surge is in price gains. Over the past year, inflation has roared higher amid an unprecedented government spending blitz, coupled with persistent supply chain disruptions that have been unable to keep up with stimulus-fueled demand, specifically goods over services. Let's see what's going on. Editor, roll clip. Fair use.
It's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production. That's simply not true.
They are all lying to you.
Well, welcome back. Oil prices are surging this morning, both Brent oil and crude oil topping $130 a barrel in the overnight session, hitting prices not seen since July of 2008. Right now, the price of crude is at $121.5. That's up 5%. Brent is at $124 and change. That's up almost 6%. These numbers are well off of the highs of the morning. Gasoline prices are also up, hitting $4 a gallon for the first time in over a decade, up 40 cents from just 1 week ago. The price of gas on average at $4.06, but in some places in California, it's between $6 and $7 a gallon right now. Joining me right now is the chairman and CEO of United Refining Company, Gristedes, D'Agostino Foods, and Red Apple Group. John Catsimatidis is here. John, it's great to have you. And the last time we were talking, the last time you joined me on this program, you said oil is going to go higher. You were right, spot on. You say this crisis is making Americans poorer while making OPEC and Russia richer. To assess the situation for us right now.
Right now, that in the month of March, I think the Fed chair was wrong on the 8% rate on inflation. I think it's going to be much higher because the price of crude oil right now will reflect $5 to $6 gasoline, and that then will reflect it in food prices and all other prices. So it's insane what's going on, that we got $110, $115, $130 crude oil, and then we are negotiating with Venezuela, which is dumber than dog doo-doo, because Venezuela is a subsidiary of Russia right now. I mean, it's really dumb, Maria. And what we should be doing, the President of the United States should sit down with Canada, Mexico, and ourselves and say, North America, let's make ourselves energy independent. I mean, that is the way a president of the United States should be doing it. Nobody can understand why, when they tried to impeach Trump when he was favoring Putin. What do you call this? I mean, it's insane what's going on. And the war with the Ukraine did not have to happen. But I am afraid, Maria, I am very much afraid that we're wagging the dog because, it's an election year, and they need a situation where the American people go and support the President of the United States in that respect by the conflict that's going on. I mean, we all saw the movie, Wag the Dog. And the other thing that concerns me, Maria, is a lot of the federal agencies have become politicized. And the Fed, I think I did say to you, I thought it was only going to be a quarter point. I did that. I told Larry Kudlow, because you've got an election year. I don't see many more raises till after the election.
Well, you've got your hand in so many areas. You're in the cat seat, John. We know that because you are in the oil business, you're in the food business, you're in the grocery business, and this war in Ukraine is driving inflation at U.S. farms, retailers, supermarkets. Food prices are up more than 20% globally. Wheat prices are exploding. They're at 14-year highs as Russia's invasion tightens supplies there. John, I want to get your take because what you just said is really important, and I want you to explain it to us. The price of inflation right now is calculating oil prices where they were a month ago. We're talking about oil hitting 130 overnight. What does that mean for inflation? We'll get the consumer price index out this Thursday. We're expecting to see 8% year over year. How does this higher oil prices lead to higher overall consumer prices? Connect the dots for us, Katz.
Year over year, it might be it'll be higher than 8%. I think it'd be 9.5%, that's my opinion. But because the prices of $120 crude oil have not been reflected yet. If $120 maintains that level, then the month, March and April, you'll see $6, so $7 gasoline at the gas station and much more higher prices. So if the price maintains 120, 130 on the barrel, then you'll see double coupons. Instead of 7.5%, you'll see maybe 15% by April or May.
So, John, are you expecting to raise prices to keep up with this on the producer level?
If Procter & Gamble raises their price to me, I have to raise my price to the consumer.
Yeah. And John, do you think this is going to lead to recession? Real quick.
Well, eventually it's going to done. Eventually, the consumer is going to say enough is enough. This is crazy. And the president has to sit down and bring back production to North America, and he has to say enough is enough. Forget about making the OPEC and Russia and Venezuela. I mean, nobody understands that. And some people in the White House have said to me, you know what they said to me, Maria? Well, if the prices of gasoline go high enough, people will love to have electric cars sooner.
Right. Well, that's why most people say this is intentional. They want to get the price to a level that is not doable for people, so they actually have to change their behavior. It's intentional. We've talked about this before. John, you made a great point on policy. Everything's about the climate change agenda. Even the banks, they want to put this person in there who has said in the past that major banks should not be lending to fossil fuel companies. It's absolutely extraordinary. You hit it nail spot on. John Katsimatidis, good to see you this morning. Thank you so much, sir. We will catch up soon.
Hey, guys, it's Jose, your regular Joe Blow again. Keeping an eye out and my ears open. With everything happening in our economy, and the lies will not stop. Inflation has been a problem since this administration stepped foot in the White House. Everything that I grew up with and was taught in my household as a prudent, moral, sane human being, in their view, is bad. Do not believe them 1 second when they tell you it is patriotic to pay more at the pump, or you are helping the Ukrainians, or shoving it in Putin's face when you suffer at the pump. No, this is the same. This is the same tactic they have been using in every war. This is how they fund their stupidity, and we pay dearly as Americans. Fun facts: before income tax, colonists had to deal with British government, which imposed a variety of taxes on the colonists, including a head tax, real estate taxes, and the infamous Tea Party, the tea tax that led to the Boston Tea Party, that led to the birth of the United States of America. See, a lot of people have forgotten the past. Corporate tax, 1909. Federal tax, 1913. 1797 estate tax to fund the Navy. Gift tax, 1924. Sales tax, 1921. Social Security Act, 1935. Gas tax, 1932. Revenue Act, 1916. And the biggest setup of all time, still used today, 2022. The Revenue Act of 1942 revolutionized the tax structure by increasing the number of who paid income tax from 13 million to 50 million at the same time through taxes on excess profits, purchases, estates, gains, and other sources. Guys, before 1942, we paid taxes after expenses the following year or quarterly, but the government needed the money now. So the government used a vulnerable time in 1942 to pass that Revenue Act to get our money ASAP to fund the war. Get it? Guys, thank you for sticking with me to the end. As always, stay free.